Hello, and welcome to Mean Street News. Mean Street News is here to provide accurate news to help citizens effect change in their local government and beyond. Being nice is overrated. It is time to be real. I mean what I say, and I say what I mean. The time to step up and step in is now. So please come join me, Katie, over on Mean Street News to discuss Ohio politics and beyond. I hope to see you there. Hello, and welcome to Mean Street News. Mean Street News is here to provide accurate Hello. Hello, and welcome to Mean Street News. I'm Katie, and if you're new here, welcome, and if you're coming back, thank you. Today, we are going to be discussing the Ohio 4. I have discussed it numerous times over the last about year and a half. Actually, February 22nd, about a couple days ago, was the year anniversary that the case was thrown out by our sitting county prosecutor, Tony Sillo. And that was discussed by Joe Dubin on Joe Rogan episode. But before we get to that clip about Tony Sillo, our sitting county prosecutor, and throwing out the request for a new trial for all 4 of the Ohio 4. Who are the Ohio 4? The Ohio 4 is Alfred, Cleveland, Lenworth, Edwards, Shakim, John Edwards, which I call Shakim. That's what he goes by, and Ian Benson Davis. Lenworth Edwards and Alfred Cleveland were paroled in 2020, and Shakim and Benson Davis are currently still incarcerated. All men were wrongfully convicted, I believe. It is my belief they're wrongfully convicted for the murder of Marsha Blakely, who was 22 years old, and Floyd Epps, who was 47 years old. Marsha Blakely and Floyd Epps were living together at the time just as platonic friends. Floyd Epps was known as the friendly town drinker. I don't want to really say drunk, like drunk, but drinker. Marsha Blakely was a 22-year-old crack addict. At the time, she was also a mother of 2. She was a daughter. She was a sister who was brutally murdered and left behind the Westgate shopping plaza in August of 1991, almost 35 years ago. And these men altogether served over 100 years in prison for a crime that I believe they did not commit. I believe the evidence is going to show you they did not commit, and that is what tonight is about. It's also about Marsha Blakely and Floyd Epps. Floyd Epps, his murder investigation is still open, and Marsha Blakely and Floyd Epps deserve, as victims, to have their actual killer brought to justice. And the 4 men who have served time for the murder they did not commit, I call them the Ohio 4. I refer to them in my investigation as the New York Boys, because that is how the Lorain Police refer to them. And during their investigation, sorry, I'm a little hoarse, I want to be very clear. This investigation and the people that were involved is from 35 years ago, is not a reflection of today's police force. So I don't want people to be in like, oh, Lorain Police, you're so bad. You know what I mean? Like, that's not a thing. That was 35 years ago. These people are no longer in their positions, but they are some of the same characters that you hear about. And you also see in the Lorain County Head Start case where Nancy Smith was wrongfully convicted as well. And she has since been freed, not exonerated, freed. And we've all seen what's been going on in the news with that. So, but tonight I'm going to bring to you the first interview um, with Willie Mincy, who was then Marsha Blakely's boyfriend, the last person to be with her the night of um, her murder at 2 in the morning. She was, the coroner said she was probably killed about 3 a.m. And who partied at Floyd Epps's house the entire night after he had gotten into it with Marsha, while Floyd and Marsha weren't there. It's the first mention. He's the first person to mention, and his sister's first people to mention the New York Shakim and Al Cleveland. We'll get to that recording tomorrow. You'll hear a little bit of the New York one today. And I think these men were targeted. I think they were a problem. They came into Lorain looking to sell crack cocaine, and it was referred to by one of the detectives as their master plan. And I think they needed to get rid of them. Now, why there was, I feel, a conspiracy and a cover up here, I don't know why. After reviewing the last few tapes, it's very clear that it was very clear, I feel like, who did it. Now, everything that I say in this investigation is alleged. Nobody has been convicted other than the Ohio 4, wrongfully, I believe, again. But I think the public needs to hear this interview, and I'm just shocked. But where we're going to start is what Josh Dubin said on Joe Rogan after our county prosecutor last year dismissed the motion for new trials for the Ohio 4 after being elected and saying that he'd actually look at the case. Hold on 1 second.
I don't know anything about him, but I do find it really difficult to understand why he took such an interest in this case, such that he blocked justice from happening and withdrew the state's position. How about hear us out and meet with us before you withdraw the joint motion to dismiss? How about that? How about you hear the evidence before making it the first official act or among the first official acts? I'm not optimistic going in, but I can tell you this. I have found something as recent as yesterday where alternative suspects were brought to the attention of the Lorain County prosecutor. And wouldn't you know that the person assigned to investigate these alternative suspects and to liaise with the police department was one Tony Sillo? I saw that document for the first time yesterday.
So what do you think that could mean?
I don't know what it means. I have a lot of questions.
I don't know what it means either, but I find it really interesting. And I find it really interesting that Josh Dubin brings up other people that could have committed this crime, because I've said this, just reading after I read the police report, that I had a guess on who did it. I've said my theory. Alfred Cleveland has said that he believes, they knew who was responsible for this. And let's play that clip real quick.
They're trying to fight. So I had to make my mind up to, understand forgiveness, try to understand that maybe these people made a mistake. Maybe they really thought we did do this, But I found out later on, this is what gets me angry, man, is that they knew it was other people and other suspects. They were on these guys' trail, man. And these are people that we're finding out are the people that committed the crime. And they were on that track, but just wanted us. Just focus on us, man. and went forward with a full story. A preschooler could have poked holes in this guy's story, but they moved forward with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's extraordinary.
We tried poking holes. They were on somebody's trail the day of Marsha's murder. They questioned this person, and this person's story made no sense. And he was he admitted to being the last person to see her. He admitted to fighting with her. He admitted to taking her purse. He admitted to following her home. He cried about, he should have just stayed home and called her. The statements that he made were damning. And I had this theory for the last year. Sorry if you hear my son, he's stemming out tonight. That's why I'm doing this a little later. I had this theory that it was somebody else from the time that I looked at this case. Shakim, I mentioned this to Shakim, who's John Edwards, who's currently incarcerated. And we're going to play a quick clip from Madhouse Bar and Grill. That Gwendolyn Mincy was the first person to bring up your name 2 days after the murder and say it was a drug debt.
Yeah, but what's so crazy, I don't even recall who Willie Mincy was.
That's what is weird, because they both brought you up, you and Al Cleveland.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy? How Willie Mincy even know Alfred Cleveland, because Alfred Cleveland wasn't even in Lorain for 90 days.
Yeah.
Like, when they came down to Ohio, he wasn't down there for 90 days. I've been in Lorain, Ohio for 3.5 years. So, like, a lot of people knew of me because of my dealings in the project. So, I have no idea how Willie Mincy would even bring Alfred Cleveland's name.
I know, the whole thing is weird. I requested their interviews, so we're going to hopefully hear the entire interviews with both of them. That Gwendolyn Mincy was the first.
I'm saying, Tony, Juven already explained and showed you the facts. You can't hide the truth. You can keep bringing up falsehood, but you can't hide the truth. So I just need you to do the right thing. The truth is right there in your face, man.
I was probably more traumatized.
The truth is right there in your face, and it is. Truth is right there in his face, and today we're going to give him some more truth. And we're going to show him some more truth. And a 35-year-old conspiracy, that's all I can call it, is a conspiracy. That's all I can think is what it was, because when these guys were charged, they didn't take it that seriously. They didn't think, they were going to serve the rest of their lives in jail. It wasn't until Lenworth Edwards was convicted based on a snitch that lied and recanted his statement on the stand, which led to a first mistrial in Lenworth Edwards' case. And his second trial, he was convicted, and that's when they started taking it seriously. These guys even say Shakim even says here, he says they were only drug traffickers. They weren't murderers, and they came to Lorain because it was a safe place where they could make a lot of money. But like I said, a year ago, I think they came in and stepped on somebody's toes, and I think I proved my theory right.
They didn't take this case serious until they found Lenworth Edwards guilty. When Lenny got found guilty, that's when we seen that this was serious. Like, yo, they really, really think that we did this. Because, at this time, like, we didn't really think it was that serious. Because, you had other people down there selling drugs down there in Lorain, Ohio. And Lorain, at that time, wasn't a violent place. And you didn't need no violence to control that city. You know what I'm saying? It was like, as long as you had the right prices and the right product, it was just that it was a town where it was a lot of money. You had the steel mill, you had the Ford plant down there. So it wasn't like we was in a major city like Cleveland or Cincinnati. We didn't need no weapons, and we didn't even need a gun down in Lorain, Ohio. It was like a city that was nice. So, like, we really didn't take this case serious. So, like, we really didn't.
Like Shakim said, they just came up here he'd been here for 3.5 years. Al Cleveland just got up here, so he doesn't even know how these people would even know Al's name. He was well known because Shakim had been up here for, I think he said 2.5, 3 years at that time. But he didn't murder anybody. So let's get started with this interview. What I'm going to do is, because I don't want to start, stop. We're going to play. At first, I'm only going to play a minute or so, just because I want to focus on what he says, what Mincy says in the beginning. And sorry, I'm getting my notes. And then I'm going to play 5 minutes, and then I'm just going to stop and make some comments, and then play 5 minutes. And that's how we're going to get through this, with you guys being able to just consistently hear it. Hopefully 5 minutes, like 4 or 5 minutes. So give me 2 seconds. Let me share my screen and bring this up. Oh, just let me share the tab. I like that. Also, share tab audio. Yes. Okay. Here we go. Where did it go? Here I go. Sorry, I clicked the wrong thing. Okay, so let's start. This interview is at 2:30. Marsha Blakely was found at 9:18 a.m. When the detectives arrived at Willie Mincy's house, it was a chaotic scene. There was fighting going on, and when Willie Mincy saw the police, he ran. Later that afternoon, he was picked up by Lorain Police, and he was brought in for questioning. This interview, I believe, is about at 2:30 between 2 and 2:30 in the afternoon, and we are going to start. Before I start, I do want to say, during a Herbert Wallace interview, which is Gwen Mincy's boyfriend, Willie Mincy's sister's boyfriend, he states that Willie Mincy was at his house that morning about 11:30 a.m. and told him that Marsha Blakely was dead. However, upon arriving at the Lorain, upon the beginning of his interview, he states Marsha is dead. I love Marsha, but then he asks what happened to Marsha. But he clearly knows, based on other interviews, that she is deceased. And let's just start playing this.
You okay? You have to understand what I'm saying. Can you hear me? I want you are not a suspect, but I'm going to advise you of your rights, just so that I can say that I did it, all right? Fair enough? Okay, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to talk to a lawyer and have him present with you while you're being questioned. If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, one will be appointed to represent you before any question if you wish. You can decide at any time to exercise these rights or not answering any questions or make any statements until then. You understand your rights? Do you want to talk to me?
What's wrong, Marsha?
Okay, do you want to talk to me, Willie?
What's wrong with Marsha?
Marsha's dead.
What's wrong with Marsha?
She's dead.
What's wrong with Marsha? What's wrong with Marsha? Now, real quick, I told you I was going to stop. I said I was going to do it in a minute. This is important. He's saying she's, what's wrong with Marsha? What's wrong with Marsha? Sorry, I'm looking at my notes when I'm talking to you. But he's saying, what's wrong with Marsha? What's wrong with Marsha? What's going on with Marsha? And my question there was, what did he know? Is he referring to the condition of her body? No one has told him any details about the murder. So why is he saying what's wrong with Marsha? He already told him Marsha's dead. Well, what's wrong with her? Is that because Willie Mincy knows the brutality of Marsha's murder? Is that why he's asking what's wrong with Marsha, as in what's wrong with her body? Because her throat was slit? Because she had 25 torture-like stab wounds? Because she had it looked like she had been run over? They questioned if she'd been run over. Floyd Epps was run over as well. But what is wrong with Marsha? She's dead. Why is it? It makes no sense. And to be clear, before we get more into this, no one has told him about Floyd. Okay, that's going to be important. But what's wrong with her? What's wrong with her? They don't know. The coroner's with her. We don't know yet. I just find it very, very odd that he's asking what's wrong with her. What's wrong with her? Well, she's dead. What do you know that's wrong with her? And that's another question: is why does Taliano not ask, well, what do you think's wrong with her? What do you know? That would be a very investigatory question, I guess. But I'm just a dumb podcaster. What do I know?
Yes, I'm sorry, but she is dead.
This is no. This is
Just have a seat. We'll talk about it.
Or she,
Or you can stand. It's up to you.
or she ain't dead.
Did you see her last night, Willie?
She come by my mother's house.
Your mother's house on 23rd Street? About what time?
No, I think it was more like the 2
What, in the afternoon or in the morning?
in the morning.
This morning at 2 o'clock? Who was she with?
She was by herself.
She walking or driving?
She was walking.
What did she say?
She said she just come by to see what I help.
Now, I might sound paranoid, whatever, call me paranoid, but those zoings, only like that little zoing, it sounds like a door stopper, like flipping. They happen throughout this interview and another interview. To a couple interviews, it doesn't really happen that much, but it's very weird when they happen. I'm just going to say that. It's very weird. It's very weird, just, very intentful sound. And I don't know what it is. It's kind of driving me crazy, but you're going to hear that zoing and then you're going to see him kind of zigzagging.
At home.
And were you home?
Yeah.
So did you talk to her?
Yeah.
Or about what?
We was just talking. She was mad. She was mad at me.
Why?
For a couple of days, she was just mad at me.
Okay. Did she say anything about being in an argument with somebody that night?
That's the first time I seen her. That's the first time I seen Marsha since.
No, I mean that day, or just before, sometime the day, just hours before you talked to her. Did she say anything about getting in a fight with somebody? Or being assaulted by anybody? Did you notice anything about her that was unusual?
She said she was going home. She said she was going home and lay down. And I took her purse. I come outside barefooted. I took her purse and I took it from her and I went in the house and I got my shoes on. I think I got my hat on. And as I was going out the door, my boyfriend said, well, go ahead and take your bike. Go ahead and take your bike. You might get down there faster. But I kept having trouble with the bike. The chain kept coming off the bike.
Well, where was Marsha when you were getting on the bike and all that?
She was walking towards the house. I don't know.
When you say her house, where does she live?
She was staying with Floyd.
Okay, Floyd Epps. On Sunset. So did you ever catch up with her?
There was a damn white. It was a damn white station wagon. It looked like she was in the station wagon.
Wait, who was in the station wagon?
It looked like Marsha was in the station wagon. It was a white station wagon. It looked like she was in a station wagon. I come up and I thought she'd be in the house, but
Where did you see her in the white station wagon? I don't quite understand. Can you explain it to me?
the car, it was pulling off as I was coming up
Up to where?
to Floyd's house.
Oh, okay, down by Floyd's on Sunset?
In the street.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so let's just go over some you know, some things. So he said Marsha came by his house about 2 a.m. All right, that's important. He's going to say 2 a.m. a lot, right? And then when they're in court, he's going to say, maybe my time was wrong, but they say 2 a.m. I mean, probably 20 times, 2 a.m. Okay. And then said she was walking and she came to see if he was home. He said, did you talk to her? He said, yeah, they were just talking shit. Okay. He said, Marsha Blakely said she was going home. She was going to go lay down. So she told Willie Mincy, I'm going home. I'm going to go lay down. Willie Mincy then stated, yes, I'm saying Mincy. I got to fix that too. I've been saying Mincy. It's Mincy. Willie Mincy states, I took her purse. I come outside barefoot. I took her purse. I took it from her and I ran in the house and got my shoes on. And then I got my hat on. So he took her purse, but she yet continued to walk, which I find interesting because had her cigarettes in it, and what crackhead isn't going to want her cigarettes, and what woman is going to just like leave her purse, right? He said that he went to his mom's house, right? And her boyfriend, her mom's boyfriend, his stepfather, whatever, said, go ahead and take the bike. You might get down there faster, which means Marsha clearly was ahead of him. So Detective Italiano follows up with, where was Marsha when you were getting on your bike and all that? And he said she was towards her house. He said, I don't know. So clearly he didn't saw her. Now, Willie Mincy brings up a white station wagon. And it's about to get interesting because what's about to happen, you're gonna hear for yourself, but he said no, there was a white station wagon. It looked like she was in the station wagon. Willie Mincy states that after he saw her, she left, he went and grabbed his shoes, hat, bike, and he got to the corner of Charleston, now Pole Avenue, thought he saw her in a white station wagon. Now, in his interview the next day, Willie Mincy did not see her in the white station wagon at all, pulling away. So he contradicts that story. So then another important thing, and this is going to be important throughout the whole thing, he's like, the car was pulling up as she was coming up Floyd's house in the street. Willie Mincy loses it. He's just like, I know you heard him just upset there. And Taliano now is going to ask him, about the muffler system of that car. And it's going to be really important. So you need to sit and then pay attention to the way that he directs Willie Mincy in the next couple minutes. So 2 a.m. we know he was with Marsha Blakely. We know they were fighting. We know he took her purse. Okay. We know that was his baby mom, 2 kids. And we know that was a long-term relationship. We know he's upset that she's a crack addict. We know he's upset that she's stealing stuff. We know that she's upset he's trying tricks. Willie Mincy, and we know that they were in an argument previous to this night because he said Marsha had not been talking to him.
No.
What kind of white station wagon was it? Was it a big one, a small one? Really? Was it a big wagon or a small one?
It was a big one.
Was it old or new?
It was old.
Anything unusual about it? The muffler system, loud, or how many people were in it?
It was like 3 people.
Could you see who was in it?
I can only tell Marsha because I know Marsha, but I didn't know the other people. The other people.
Was Floyd in the car?
I didn't see Floyd. I didn't.
Who was driving?
I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't paying attention because I was looking so hard for Marsha.
Yeah.
I only think I seen 3 people in the car.
Uh-huh.
But when I got up there, and I was, I know she had to be in that car.
Well, okay, where was she? Where was the car at when you got to Sunset and 23rd?
I was coming up 23rd.
Right. And here's where Floyd lives, right here, right? And this is 23rd, and this is Sunset. Okay, you know, Floyd's right here, over here, and Sunset comes like this.
The car was on that end of the corner. The car was on this end of the corner.
Wait. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna draw. We're gonna draw. So I need to understand exactly. Let me draw how I laid out. Okay. This is 23rd. We have to sit down. This is 23rd. You know, and then this is Sunset. Okay. Okay, you know how and then the buildings go like this. Okay. And Floyd lives right here in the corner, you know. This is Sunset, and it comes around the 24th, okay? And Floyd lives right here, and this is 23rd. Okay, show me where you saw it with the pen. Show me where you were at and where the car was at.
Right here.
Right.
This is 23rd coming this way.
Uh-huh. Yeah, you're coming this way, right.
I was coming this way.
Gotcha.
The car was on this end of the corner.
No, wait. This is Sunset here. This is the street.
Okay,
I draw it.
Floyd lives right here. Car was on this end of the corner, and as I was coming up, it was pulling off, and it looked like
you must be. My drawing's not being real clear. I'm gonna do it again. See, my drawing must have messed you up. Okay. Watch. Okay. Here's north. Okay. Here's 23rd Street. You know how 23rd goes all the way down. This is Levitt Road here. Okay. All right. Here's Sunset. How it goes around like this. Okay. We on the same page now. Okay. And Floyd stays right here. Okay. Now the street goes like here. Now this is Reeves Avenue here.
Okay, I'm coming up.
You're coming up this way. Where was the car at?
The car was on this.
Oh, so it wasn't as far as Floyd's then. Okay, which way was it headed?
It's on this end of the corner. It come up.
He was pointing on the wrong side of the street?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me do that then.
It was pointing this way.
I got you. It's on the wrong. Okay. It was like stopped at a stop sign or something?
No, it was parked right there
parked
in at that corner.
I know where that little that little jets in.
Yeah, and it was pulling off.
This way?
It was pulling off, pulled off straight. And
it went down. Okay,
it turned down, it come down, and it turned down by that second, not Reeves, the second corner.
Pole?
Yeah, I think it was.
The one closest to your mom's house?
Yeah, it turned right.
Oh, no, down Marshall, you mean?
Yeah, it turned right.
Okay, so it came off, it went down straight, and then it turned right. It didn't turn on Reeves, went down one more block and went down Marshall.
And it turned right, yeah.
All right, I got you. Okay. Where was Marsha sitting in the car? Is she in the front or the back?
She was in the back.
And there was 2 people in the front or 1 people?
2 people in the front.
Okay, so there's 2 people in front and Marsha was in the back. You know for sure it was her?
I don't know for sure. That's why I went to the house.
So then you go to Floyd's, right?
Yeah.
Is anybody home?
There was nobody in the house.
Okay.
So I sit out there. I must have sit out there all night. Now.
What time was this? You said she came over about 2 o'clock?
It was a little after 2, I think. A little after 2.
How much after 2? 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 1 minute? What?
Probably around 2:30 or something.
About 2:30? All right. What? Did you, when she came to the house, tell me what you guys talked about. She was mad at you about something? Did she want any money from you?
No, she didn't want the money. She just said, I just come to see was you at home. She said, I just come to see was you at home, and I'll see you tomorrow. I said, I'll see you.
All right, I'm going to stop there so we can go over some points. Do you see how aggressive? Do you guys notice how aggressive Detective Taliano is? Kind of yelling at him. Did you also catch directing him? Oh, you must not understand my map here. Let me draw my map for you. Okay? You're not understanding what you're trying to explain. The directing. I mean, he's the one that's drawing the map. Mincy has lived there almost his entire life. I would have him draw the map. You don't know where you were? You can't explain where this car was coming from, this white station wagon? You don't know what? And then the best is at 6:07, and he said, "My drawing must have messed you up. Let me fix this." What? What? Yeah. And so what Mincy ends up describing, okay, let's go over this. What Mincy ends up describing, okay. So he says, tells him to sit down. So clearly he was standing up. All right. He said draws a map, and I'm gonna show you the map because I actually mapped this out. Oh no, I didn't want to exit out of that. Whatever. Anyways, I'll reshare it. So let's see my assets. There's a picture. So I'm gonna pull a picture up here. All right. So where you see letter A, that is Mincy's mom's house. Okay. B is Epps. And you see that little winding road. I know it's not like the best. I can't like direct it. So whatever. Anyways, you see how it's like that winding road. That's a Floyd Epps. So what he was saying was that the car was going north, where that B was going north, and then was on the opposite side of the street and was kind of pulling out as he was walking up from A to his mom's house. Now, the first street that you see there after the B, to the right of the B, is not where they pulled down. It was the next street. But the detective was trying to tell him it was the following. It's very weird. The whole thing was very weird. But that's what he's talking about. He's talking about this random white station wagon that eventually you'll realize doesn't even matter to begin with. So, because he says in his interview the next day that he never saw the station wagon and never saw Marsha in the white station wagon. And, whatever. So Italiano takes him through, which I thought that was crazy. I thought that whole little drawing the map thing was crazy, walking him right through it. Because usually they'd be like, draw me a map, you draw me what I want. You know what I mean? Anyways, so he said, I don't know if you picked up, Taliana says, do you know that for sure that it was Marsha Blakely? And he said, he did not know for sure. That's why he went to the house. And then he says also nobody was in the house and he was there all night. At this point, he doesn't mention his sister, mentions nothing about her. Now, what's about to come up is very important. So I'm going to play a couple seconds, and then I want you guys to think about what he said for a second. I'm going to repeat it, okay? So basically, Taliano had him draw a map. And then once again at 7:57, though, he says, what time did you see her? What time was it again? 2:00. That's the second time he said 2:00. And then he asked again. So he said for a third time, Willie Mincy sees about 2:30 a.m. outside his mother's house, and that she was mad at him, and that she said, I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow. And she left. Okay. I have to reshare my screen, so give me 2 seconds. Stupid me. Anyways, hold on. I gotta reopen it because I closed it out completely. Should make sense. I don't know where we're at, though. It's probably not the best idea. Bear with me for 2 seconds. I just reload this because I'm an idiot. He said, okay, found it. Here we go. Share.
Okay, so there's two people in front and Marsha's in the back. You know for sure it was her?
I don't know for sure. That's why I went to the house.
So then you go to Floyd's, right?
Yeah.
Is anybody home?
There was nobody in the house.
Okay.
So I sit out there. I must have sit out there all night. What time was this? She said she came over about 2:00? It was a little after 2, I think it was. A little after 2. Yeah.
How much after 2? 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 1 minute? What?
It probably was around 2:30 or something.
About 2:30? All right. What? Did you, when she came to the house, tell me what you guys talked about. She was mad at you about something? Did she want any money from you?
No, she didn't want the money. She just said, I just come to see what you at home. She said, I just come to see what you at home, and I'll see you tomorrow. She said, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Don't come down. Don't come down to Floyd's. She said, don't come down to Floyd's. I'll see you tomorrow. And then, you know, I mean, I care about this girl. See you tomorrow. Bye. Don't come down. Don't come down to Floyd's. She said, don't come down to Floyd's. I'll see you tomorrow. She said, I just come to see what you at home, and I'll see you tomorrow. She said, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Don't come down. Don't come down to Floyd's. She said, don't come down to Floyd's.
So Marsha told him, bye, I'll see you tomorrow. Don't come down to Floyd's on that shit. Don't come down to Floyd's on that shit. I'll see you tomorrow. So instead of, you know, not continuing to fight with Marsha Blakely, he went and got his shoes, hat, bike, and then skirted down to Marsha Blakely's house after she said, don't come down there on that shit, which means apparently they were fighting, right? Pretty clear they were fighting. And she said, don't come down on that dumb shit. Okay. Time of death was a little after 3 a.m., folks. This is at 2:30 a.m. Just saying.
I'll see you tomorrow. And then, you know, I mean, I care about this girl so much. I just followed her down the street without my barefooted. So I grabbed her purse.
Well, how did you get her purse? I don't understand that.
We planned. I just grabbed it from her. I just took
Was she still at your mom's house when this happened, or was she down the street?
She was down the street. So
how far down the street had she gotten before you took her purse?
Right there by Charleston, that sign. So I ran back to the house. And I put my shoes on, and I put my hat on, and then my father, my stepfather, he said, why don't you go ahead and take the bike? So I said, well, yeah, okay. And then the bike just kept fucking up on me down.
The chain, you said?
The chain kept fucking up on me right there by Charleston. I didn't catch her in time. I think she was, I couldn't see that good down that street. But somebody, it had to be her. It had to be her. She got in that car and just... What's the last thing you saw her doing? Was she walking down the street? Was she running down the street? What was she doing? She was just walking. What side of the street? On the side of the school side? On the side of the school side. Wait, can I ask you something? You can ask me anything you want.
Pay very close attention to what he is about to ask him. He needs to ask him something. And before I play this, I want to also remind you, before he asks him something, before he says he has to ask him something important, okay, what he asks him, he already asked her at the beginning of this interview.
The school side?
On the side of the school side. Wait, can I ask you something?
You can ask me anything you want.
Where did they find Marsha?
She was found behind Charlie's Barn in L. You know, the roadway in back, you know.
What's wrong with her?
We don't know yet. That's why the coroner's taking a look at her now. I don't know if she was hit by a car. I don't know what happened yet. We have to find out.
What about Floyd?
He's dead.
He wasn't at the house all night. He went at the house all night, and then...
When's the last time you saw Floyd?
The other day. When
you didn't see him last night at all?
No.
So he says, what's wrong with her? What's wrong with her? What do you mean what's wrong with her? She's dead. But he asked that in the beginning of the interview. What's wrong with her? Why is he trying to pry out at the detective? What's wrong with her? Willie, is it because you know that her throat is slit? You know that she was stabbed 25 times, like torture type wounds. You know that she looked beat. You know that she looked like she was ran over. Is it because you know how gruesome the murder of your baby, your mother, the mother of your children was? It sounds like it. And then what's even more damning is he asked about Floyd. What about Floyd? The detectives have told him nothing about Floyd Epps. Nothing about Floyd Epps being dead and being hit by a car. Nothing. And he's just like, oh, it's because he didn't show, because he didn't show up at the house last night. Motherfucker, I think you knew he was dead, which is why you kept saying that you never went into his house, because Floyd Epps apparently didn't allow you in his house. Wasn't the biggest fan of you. But you were comfortable after seeing Marsha, you're comfortable there sitting there all night long? Keeps asking what's wrong with her. Is it because he knows how violently she was murdered? And then asks, what about Epps? No one said to him, Floyd Epps is dead, that I know of, that's documented anywhere. But he has to ask, what about him? Because his throat was slit and he was ran over by a car and he was brutally murdered.
That's what this guy come by after I went home with my after I went home with my sister. After I went home with my sister, I come back and I was gonna just stay there until she got back. And this guy Booby Walker, Lorain Walker, he was in the house sleeping. And
He was in whose house sleeping?
he was at Floyd's house.
When was that?
Last night.
What time?
It was at 3.
Well, wait a minute. You said that when you chased her down, you saw the car pull out. You said you went to Floyd's and nobody was home.
No, nobody was there. I went inside, nobody was there. But then I was looking around. I was looking around the area.
Yeah.
I was gonna stay there, and then I went around the corner to see if she might have went over this girl's house. And then my chain broke over there on the other side of the old folks' house. I come back and he was sitting out there in the front. So we sit out there for about an hour.
Who was sitting out front?
Leonard Walker. We were sitting out there for about an hour. And my sister pulls up and she wanted me to go somewhere with her. So I went somewhere with her and we went to the house. And we stayed there for about a couple hours. And then I left. I come back out the house and I went back down there on my nephew's bike. On my nephew's bike, and I sit around there until all day. And my sister's boyfriend, and we were talking and stuff, and he was having trouble with my sister and stuff, and he was trying to commit suicide and everything. So I mean, we were sitting there talking all night until about daylight. It was about 7, 8, until I went back down to my house, and then I cleaned the house up, and then I told my mother I was gonna go over here. I was gonna go over here and see about him because he was talking about committing suicide.
Well, excuse me, I'm gonna get back to Leonard Walker. What time did he come to Floyd's house?
Man,
Best you can do.
Around that corner, man, it had to be around 3 somewhere. I don't know.
Did you guys ever go back into Floyd's house?
He was in Floyd's house all night till about 7, 8 o'clock. He was in Floyd's house till about 7, 8 o'clock. I was there.
What were you doing while he was in the house?
I was sitting outside talking to my sister's boyfriend. We was sitting outside.
Outside of Floyd's?
Yeah, sitting outside of Floyd's, on that. And he said the cops.
Who are you talking with?
He said the cops was sitting on that corner.
Who are you talking with?
I was talking to my sister's boyfriend.
What's his name?
Herb Wallace.
Herb Wallace? Let me, you live at, what's your mother's address?
1609.
09?
23.
Right. Is that where you stay? Whose address is 2409 Leonard? Is that where you stay? I know.
That's where we used to stay.
You don't stay there anymore? What's your mother's phone number?
Who?
Yours, mother's phone number.
No,
Where do you stay if you don't stay there?
I stay at my cousin's 309 West 26.
309 West 26?
West 26. That's my mailing address. I just stay with my mother.
Yeah, okay. Is there a phone number that West 26th Street address?
246 448.
Okay. What's the M stand for, Willie?
Hmm?
What's your M stand for?
Maurice,
Maurice?
Yeah.
How old are you?
33.
Let's get back to this white, why don't you take that? Let's get back to that white station wagon. Do you remember anything about it at all? Have you ever seen it before?
I ain't never seen it before. It looked like a white automobile.
Now, what's coming up is going to be important because there was a witness that saw Marsha Blakely between 12 and 12:30 a.m. Her name is Mary Jane Gonzalez. Mary Jane Gonzalez was a clerk at the Shop and Go, and she knew Marsha, was friendly with Marsha, but Marsha showed up between 12 and 12:30 at her home and was trying to sell her steaks for some money. Mary Jane told the detectives that she sounded desperate for money at the time, and even $5, $10, $20. And Mary Jane Gonzalez also said that when Marsha left, she looked out of her window and saw a brown, maroon, rusty looking Oldsmobile that had a very loud muffler. After telling detectives this, the detectives then, share this information with Willie Mincy, and Mary Jane Gonzalez the next day contacts detectives because the same car is circling her home, but now the muffler is fixed. So I found that really interesting. What he said in those couple minutes, I don't. He goes back and forth on the whole. He left with his sister. He was there all night. He left and then came back. Now, what he did confirm in that little bit that we just played was that he saw Herbert Wallace the next morning, which is not really the next morning, same night and day and the night, but same that morning. Him and his mother went over there, and it confirms Herbert Wallace's story from his interview that they went over and told him that Marsha was dead, even though he's acting like in this interview he has no idea that she was dead. He knew because he had told Herbert Wallace that morning, a couple hours before he was picked up, and he was found with pills in his pocket, apparently. But this next part is really important because he's going to go over what Mary Jane Gonzalez told the detectives, and Mary Jane Gonzalez ended her interview telling detectives that they should talk to her boyfriend, Willie Mincy, which is why they then went to Willie Mincy's house, where he fled originally, and then the Lorain Police found him later that afternoon and arrested him and took him in detained him for questioning. So Mary Jane Gonzalez, who saw her at 12:30, said, "You should ask her boyfriend." I wonder why.
It's like a white automobile station. One of those old kind, Oldsmobile, 69, something like that. Old. And it just pulled off. I knew she had to be in that. She had to be in that station wagon. She had to be in that station wagon. Because she said she was going home to go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, he just said she had to be in that station wagon because she said she was going home and going to sleep. So if she said she was going home and going to sleep, why would she have to be in a station wagon? Why would she be in a station wagon leaving if she said she was going home and going to sleep? Yeah, story's crumbling, bruh.
When she said home, where did she mean? She meant Willie, right?
Floyd.
Yeah, Floyd.
Did you catch that when Detective said when she said she was going home, going to sleep? What'd she mean? At Willie's house, which is his house? And Willie goes, no, at Floyd's. He said, oh yeah, at Floyd's.
Floyd's house. Well, she was at a girl's house about midnight, between midnight and 12:30 in the morning, asking for money. She owed somebody some money. She left that apartment and got into what was described to me as a dark brown, old, beat up, rusty Oldsmobile with a loud muffler. Does that sound like anybody that you know she hung with, or that somebody that car sounds familiar to you? Supposed to be a black guy in there. He had a baseball cap on, and that's the best she could do. But it was an old, beat up Olds, maybe an Olds, not, or maybe it wasn't even an Oldsmobile. It was just that kind of style, you know. But she had a loud muffler, and she supposedly was trying to borrow some money, and she's supposed to have a bag, a plastic bag, maybe a Regal's bag with some steaks in it, trying to sell it to raise some money. And she's supposed to have a black eye at that time. Her eye she'd been beaten up a little bit. And when the girl says, "Well, what is it? What happened?" She said, "Well, you know how it is when you owe people money, or when you owe people." So that's where I got to get to this. Will you understand what I'm saying? I got to find out who she owed money to, who she dealt with. I know she smoked crack all the time. So who did she do?
Marsha had some of these secrets. Marsha had some of these secrets. She never was honest with me. I was trying to get out of this relationship for I don't know how long, but I care about it so much, you know.
But you gotta help me, man. Somebody's gotta point me in the right direction.
But I don't know these people she hang around with. That's
how about the car? The car sound like something that hang around in the neighborhood?
Say that.
He said, but man, I don't know these people she hangs around with. I'm telling you, man. But then in a little bit, he's all of a sudden going to know. Very weird. Very weird. And then he goes back to the car. When did you see this car around the neighborhood? Maybe like that.
Say that again.
It's old dark brown, beat up, rusty, old, maybe an Oldsmobile, maybe it could have been a Buick, could have been a Pontiac, but that size, maybe two-door, dark brown, and had a real loud muffler on it.
Years.
16?
7 years.
Oh, 6, 7.
I believe there's a pause in the tape. That was a skip in the tape, because did you see how he asked him a question and all of a sudden he comes back in and Willie Mincy's like 6, 7, but he never even tell you I didn't ask him a question. That was very weird. And the background noise switches and the whole like tone switches. I think that was a click. We just didn't hear the click in this one.
Right? Lisa watches them all?
Yeah.
On each side?
My mother's got an older son.
Huh?
My mother's got an older son.
You leaving anything out? Because it's critical that I know everything. No matter how insignificant or how personal you might think it is, I gotta know it. Because I need to find the people who did this to her and Floyd.
Okay, let me tell you something.
I need to find the people who did this to her and Floyd. Why is Taliano saying people, not person? Why does he think it's more than one person? That's a question.
Last time I got, first time before I got out of jail, she was telling me there was people after, she's telling me she got hit out after or something. About people in the other projects. He was owing somebody else some money and stuff. But I never thought nothing about it, because
Did you ever see who these people were?
What is that person's name? Glenn something. And she said he was evicted, so she was by him. She
said what about him?
She said he got evicted, but she said she wasn't worried about him because he wasn't over there no more. So, she was going over there and back and forth over.
When you say over there, you mean over where? Reeves?
Any other projects.
Yeah.
She was going back and forth over there projects. She kept going to the stores and stealing and stuff. And she was doing that stuff.
So now we got 2 cars I'm thinking about. This white station wagon you saw pull out, and then this dark brown one I'm telling you about.
Okay, let me take something else too. she was telling me that the people next door telling me that they were selling. She was telling me they were selling big bags of cocaine, bringing cocaine back from New York and stuff. And she said she overheard this guy next door talking about they was gonna have to be careful about his the people he supplies gonna have to be careful about coming over there where he at now because Floyd and girl Floyd and Marsha, they was having people running off in their house smoking and stuff.
When you say next door to who?
Next door to Floyd.
Next door to Floyd?
There's Puerto Ricans that live next door.
Uh-huh.
There was a Puerto Rican guy. She was telling me this Puerto Rican guy was I guess she said he was coming from New York. I don't know if she knew what she was talking about. She said he was coming from New York and he was supplying
the people next door with this?
No,
or that where you keeping it or?
No, he was supplying she was talking about. She said he was coming from New York next door.
Uh-huh.
They were smoking and stuff.
When you say next door to who?
Next door to Floyd.
Next door to Floyd?
There's Puerto Ricans that live next door.
Uh-huh.
There was a Puerto Rican guy. She was telling me this.
Okay, you hear this writing in the background. It's very not usual, right? And Willie Mincy is talking about some Puerto Ricans that live next door. Some Puerto Rican guys, weird Puerto Rican guy story after saying, like, I don't know her business. She don't need people money. Da 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 da. I don't know who she owes money to. Now his whole story's changed. And now there's New York guys selling big bags of brick cocaine next door. But they got to be careful because the crackheads next door smoke and it makes the place hot, you know. But these Puerto Ricans are next door. Then you hear this writing. Now, at 20:34 seconds, which is in 1 second, you are going to hear Detective Taliano whisper to Mincy, sorry. And Mincy goes, huh? Acknowledging the apology and continuing with his New York guy story. But this is my question, is what the fuck is Detective Taliano apologizing for? What, did he write something down wrong that kind of messed up Willie Mincy? Is that what he's apologizing for? Tripping him up? Because he's talking about the Puerto Rican guys and all of a sudden he's talking about these New York guys again. And he's saying, what the Puerto Rican guys have to do with the New York guys? Well, he doesn't know because he's full of shit. And he's making up a story that he was just told. But it's very weird that right here, and I'm going to repeat it, you're going to hear, and it took me a little bit to hear it, but you're going to hear, sorry. And he's saying it quiet so that the thing doesn't pick up. He goes, sorry. Because I think he just wrote something down for that douchebag to say about the New York people.
This Puerto Rican guy.
Next door to who?
Next door to Floyd.
2034.
Floyd?
There's Puerto Ricans that live next door.
Uh-huh.
There was a Puerto Rican guy. She was telling me this Puerto Rican guy was I guess she said he was coming from New York. I don't know if she knew what she was talking about. She said he was coming from New York and he was supplying
the people next door with this?
No,
or that where you keeping it or?
No, he was supplying he was supplying people from Lorain.
Yeah. But he was staying next door to Floyd?
I don't think he was staying next
So
door.
what does people next door have to do with it then?
I guess there is his relative or something. And she was telling me about this, but oh man, I can't believe this.
Did any of them have a white station wagon or a dark? Well, let's get back to a white station wagon. Ever see a white station wagon parked over there by those people?
I never paid no attention to this. This first time.
Anything else you can think of to share? That was something I can follow up on. What else?
That was something Detective Taliano can follow up on. Not the fact that he saw Marsha Blakely at 2 a.m. walking down the street. They got in an altercation. Let's not dive there. Let's dive into the weird Puerto Rican neighbor story about some Puerto Ricans, but the New York guys now. But the New York, what do the Puerto Ricans have to do? Neighbors have to do with the New York guys. I don't know. Maybe they're relatives. I don't know. What? Like, what? After saying you had no idea what Marsha was into. What? Huh? And Taliano's all excited. Well, that's something I can follow up on. You're gonna see why I keep going to Taliano. Like he has a motive.
I should have called her then. I should have called him. I should have left that bike in the house, and I should have just ran and
No, you
called.
can't do that to yourself.
What is he talking about? He said, I should have just called her. I should have just called her. I should have just left the bike in that house and I should have just ran and called. Why? Because you lost your cool when you went down to her house with her? You got upset? Maybe assaulted her? So now you're regretting that decision? Why are you saying I should have called her? I should have called her. I should have left that bike at that house and I should have just ran and called. What? And he just ignores it. He just just stops and says, oh, you can't do that to yourself, and then moves on. Sounds like a guilty conscience to me.
I should have ran. I should have called her then. I should have called him. I should have left that bike in the house, and I should have just ran and
No,
called.
you can't do that to yourself.
I should have ran and called it.
What about those pills you had on you? Where are those from?
That was from my friend. He was talking about committing suicide.
You know what kind of pills they are?
No, my mother took me over there. I mean, I took my mother over there, and he was sitting there talking to some girl, and he told me he took about 9 of them, so he told me to take them and throw them away. So I had them in my back pocket, and when I left the first time, I just forgot to throw them away, and I come back to his house.
Well, it wasn't the guy you were talking to by Floyd's, was it?
Yeah, that's the one, because he was talking about committing suicide. He was talking all out his head then.
And what was his name?
Herb Wallace.
Where do I find him at?
He brought me. He come over to the house with me.
No, where does he live?
He stay off the tower somewhere. Like 2131 Grenoble Drive. That's it.
2131 what?
Grenoble Drive.
Grenoble?
No, man, no.
Is there anything else you can think of? You got my card there. See that?
That little no, man, no. That was a little weird. What, he got upset after he told him Herb Wallace's address? That was a lot. It was just a lot.
I want to know. I need, I got the cards out to as many people as I can because I need help out there. She say anything about being at the bar that night, Charles?
She just told me she told me she had a long hike. She just come from across the bridge and she was going home to lay down.
Well, when she came from across the bridge. What do you mean?
From seeing the kids. She told me she seen the kids and they didn't want to let her go. And she was going home to lay down.
At 2 o'clock in the morning, she's over there seeing the kids?
She just walked from across the bridge before that time. We both had walked across.
No, I mean, but as far as seeing the kids, and they'd be asleep by then, wouldn't they?
Yeah, she probably was out.
She means Lisa's house, right?
Yeah, she probably was out over there.
You know where Lisa's at right now?
She's probably at home.
I don't think I ever
Get
know.
somebody to talk to him. Get somebody to talk to her.
I talked to Mark, her brother Mark. He's out there trying to help me too. You know what kind of pills those are?
He got pretty upset when Mark was mentioned.
Put them in my back pocket and forgot about them when I come into the house and I was coming back there to see him.
When I came up to your house today, your mother's house, really, what was going on? Remember, I tried to walk in the door and everybody screaming and yelling. And
I could feel something. I could feel something was wrong. I could feel something was wrong. I could feel it. Something was wrong.
I mean, I wasn't there to bother you, to hurt you.
I could feel something.
To your house today, your mother's house, really. What was going on? Remember, I tried to walk in the door and everybody screaming and yelling. And
I could feel something. I could feel something was wrong. I could feel.
He has the spidey senses, guys. He can just feel it. He can just feel something was wrong, That's why they were fighting before they got there. They were fighting and they were just like, I know something's wrong, so let's just get mad. Because I know something's wrong. Maybe they're fighting because the stepdad's like, I saw you with her at 2:30 in the morning, bro. What happened last night? You guys were fighting. The sister saw him fighting with her. This one saw him fighting. Like maybe they started asking him questions. They started getting upset, and then when he saw the cops, he thought they were there to arrest him, and he dipped. What innocent person just runs away from the cops if they're so concerned about the mother of their children? Why would he run? Because he had a feeling, and his tingly spidey senses feelings told him something was wrong. He could just feel it. Just feel it. That makes no fucking sense.
Feel something wrong. I can feel it. Something wrong.
I mean, you know I was there to bother you, to hurt you. I was there just to talk to you, that's all. You know? You think you can help me? You knew who she hung around with. You knew who she dealt with. You knew who she was afraid of. You knew who she needed to be afraid of.
You know who she needed to be afraid of? Who, Detective Taliano? I haven't heard one person he said that she should be afraid of. Maybe him, maybe himself. Who, Detective Taliano? Who should she be afraid of?
Glenn. Guy Glenn, I'm just talking about.
Yeah, is he a white guy or black guy?
Black guy.
Do you know his last name?
I don't know.
Do you know where he stays?
Glenn the Ghost.
How old is he, Glenn? Which is
33.
So, and you know where he lives? What about a car? Does he drive a car?
I don't know that much about him. She just,
You know who he runs with, Glenn?
I mean, all the people, they run with everybody.
I know that, but somebody he might be more close. He might be close.
Then they're talking about a Glenn, a single person, right? Single person. And Willie Mincy just comes on at 25:53 minute mark and says, I mean, all them people, they run with everybody. How did Glenn turn into all them people? And we had a little weird pause in between where he's breathing real heavy and all of a sudden stops and he just goes, then you just hear him say, I mean, all them people, they run everybody. What people is Willie Mincy talking about? And how did Glenn turn into all them people? Weird. Very weird. I really want to put you to pay attention at the 26 mark. Very interesting.
Closer to it or not?
She was telling me this guy, she's telling me these people from, I mean, all the people, they run with everybody.
I know that, but somebody he might be more close. He might be closer to it or not?
She was telling me this guy, she's telling me these people from Detroit come down here. And, and Marsha, and my sister was telling me that Marsha smoked up these stuff or something. And that's what Marsha was telling me. She said she said she got a hit out on me or something. She was telling me a lot of stuff. A couple guys.
Marsha smoked up their dope from
Yeah.
these people out in Detroit.
Yeah.
And then she owed money for it?
Yeah.
She say who these people were? That's we need to run these people down. See, the more time it goes by, the harder it is to find these people. Right now I got no witnesses. You're the last one to see her that I know of so far. Prior to that, it was like I said, midnight to 12:30. She was already, somebody had smacked her around. She had a black eye, and she said she was desperate. She was acting desperate. She had to get some money. She was trying to get $10 off this girl, trying to get $5 off this girl.
Who was she trying to get?
This girl, she went to her apartment. Said, I just need to borrow some money. So she felt friendly with her. I need to borrow some money. She said, the girl said, I just don't have any. She said, look, I got steaks. She said, I'll sell you some steaks. She said, I don't have any money. So then she walks out. She gets into this dark brown car I'm telling you about, and they leave. They go towards Reeves Avenue. But that was like 12:30. She wasn't real sure because she was sleeping. So time was, but it was about that time, sometime after midnight. And you're saying you saw it was after like about 2:30.
Might have been after 12. I don't know, because I mean 2 or 12.
Wait a minute, 2 or 12. We're talking big shots there. I mean, I need to fill in the blanks here.
Oh, no, it might be 12 or what? It might be, I don't know, it might be, what? This guy has said throughout his entire interview, 2:30, 2:30, 2:30, 2:30, 2:30, consistently, multiple times. And now towards the end of the interview, after he knows about Mary Jane Gonzalez's statement, what time he saw her, the fact that, Detective Taliano's pretty much hinting towards, well, I don't have any witnesses. You were the last one with her. They saw this car with this guy, this black guy in the front seat wearing a hat. Oh, you were wearing a hat, Now that Mincy's saying, well, it might have been 12, 2 or 12. I was like, well, that's a big shock. I need you to fill in the blanks here. Wait a minute, Mincy. I think I bet you she came right after 2, because I'm thinking I was looking at my mother's clock, is what he'll say. And Detective Taliano, it would be the dumbest detective, which I don't believe at all in the world, to believe Willie Mincy, who was the last one with her, whose story is all over the place, is not the one who more than likely and allegedly, this is alleged, this is my theory, this is my guess, my guesstimate, it's not a fact. My theory is he is responsible, just because based on his other interviews too, not just this one. The ones that we're gonna listen to tomorrow are even worse than this one. For many factors, but now Detective Taliano is just fucking with them. You know what I mean? He's just like, oh, now I want to talk to your stepdad and we'll get that time down, right?
I'm thinking she coming over after 2, because I'm looking at my mother's clock.
Who was home when she came over?
My stepfather,
Is he home now?
He was downstairs. He was outside, and he was outside.
Is he home now?
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna give you a ride home. How about you introduce me to him and see what time he puts on it?
All right. Yeah, because he can tell you the time better than I could. Because I'm just getting up thinking about Marsha. I'm not even thinking about the time.
Right, I understand. Okay. Well, is there anything else you can think of right now? Anything at all? But you'll call me if you do, right?
Click, 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 click. That is the money. That is the tape recorder going click, click, which means off and now on again. I wonder how long in between that. Click, click. You'll hear that in another interview. Click, click. It's quieter in some instances, but that one he didn't really care. Click, click. Let's hear it again.
Well, is there anything else you can think of right now? Anything at all?
Click, click.
But you'll call me if you do, right? Okay. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take you back to. Did they take any property off you?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna have to release that to you. And I'm gonna get a form for you to sign around and give you a ride home. Are you introducing to your stepfather? Is that who you said it was?
Now you're interviewing somebody that sounded like crumpled up paper. Would you throw away the paper that you're making notes on and stuff? Because that's exactly what that sounded like. It sounded like he just crumpled up paper like he was going to throw something away. But usually detectives like keep their notes. Maybe it was a class cup or something, but that was just one of my thoughts.
And I'm gonna get a form for you to sign around and give you a ride home. Are you introducing to your stepfather? Is that who you said it was?
Maybe that was a water bottle too.
And maybe you can put a time on it because that's pretty critical. Okay, well, it's 14:45 hours now. And I'm trying to get you home in the next 15 minutes or so, okay? Try to get you home by about 3.
Now, that is the first interview. Tomorrow evening, we will listen to the interview the next day, and then we will start getting into his sister's interviews. And what you are going to start seeing is the fact that the one story that stays consistent is Willie Mincy saw Marsha Blakely the night, was the last one to see Marsha Blakely the night of the murder. He later will state in his next interview that she carried a knife on her, but it wasn't with her or in her purse. That purse, you know, she has 200 purses. It was in that one that night. He'll go on to make other damning statements like the white pickup, the white station wagon didn't exist and he never saw Marsha in it. And then a new witness is going to appear based on what his sister says. And, you know, after this, I mean, you know, Al Cleveland said it in that little clip I played you in the beginning of this episode that there were other suspects that they were investigating originally, that they were originally on. And no offense to Detective Taliano, but it does not take a rocket scientist to understand after listening to this interview by Willie Mincy that he absolutely more than likely had a part to do in the violent killing of his baby mother. I mean, he even says in his next interview how, you know, the severity of the way that Marsha was killed, he doesn't believe it was over a drug debt. Is that because you know, Willie, that it wasn't over a drug debt? But then it comes to, it makes you think, okay? It makes you think for a minute. Why would these detectives want to target the Ohio 4? Why would they want to pin a murder on them? And that doesn't make any sense. They want to solve crime. And I'm going to leave you with this clip because it proved my entire theory that these boys came in and wanted to take over a locally controlled drug operation. And like they have done in the past, the police at the time helped them get rid of their future competition and somebody that were trying to come in from out of town and step on the local boys' toes. And I think they used this murder to get rid of their problem. I think the detectives were very much aware of Willie Mincy being the last one to see her. Willie Mincy, but you know, I mean, really everything points to the boyfriend. Even the type of crime it was. You know, the fact that her throat was slit, Floyd Epps' throat was slit, was ran over, Marsha was ran over. Maybe ran over, but beaten and had 25 stab like torture wounds from a small knife. And then they both had their throats slit in the same manner. You know, Willie Mincy being upset at, you know, Gwen for tricking and smoking crack and boosting and all the other stuff she was doing. Gwen Mincy even says, where I'm about to play you here, that, you know, she owed some girl $20, and then you hear the tape go click, click. And then all of a sudden, Detective Taliano is telling her, you know, we got to get these guys off the street. And that has been my theory this entire time. So I'll play this clip and then I'm going to play you what I said. And that is where I'm going to leave you tonight. And we will be back for part 2 tomorrow, which is the next 2 interviews. We're going to hear from Willie Mincy, we're going to hear from Gwen Mincy, and then we're going to hear from Willie Mincy again. And those interviews are even more mind-boggling than this one. And you all stay focused.
Those people. How we like this thing about Tim Blakely. Now that might be very important. He may say that, well, he heard it from somebody else, but until we start running this
Going
stuff
through all
down,
those people.
how are we supposed to know who knows what's important? But we're gonna be putting a $2,000 reward out for the arrest and indictment of these people. And so we're hoping, I mean, I'm not saying it's just because of the money, but obviously money doesn't hurt either. And we do want these people very bad. Like I said, I don't care where these people came from, Floyd and Marsha, but they had a right to live. Anyway, they chose to live.
Anybody did.
And you don't do things like that to people. And the thing that's scary is people out there have to, a lot of people, one guy told me, this is the 90s, you don't talk, I said, well, the thing is, they're not going to stop at just one person.
These
people have this master plan in their mind, what they want to do down there about controlling, don't talk, I said, well, the thing is, they're not going to stop at just one person.
Pay attention to this right here. Ready? He's talking about the New York boys, okay? They're not going to just stop at one person, Gwen.
These people have this master plan in their mind. A lot of people, one guy told me, this is the 90s, you don't talk, I said, well, the thing is, they're not going to stop at just one person. These people have this master plan in their mind, what they want to do down there about controlling it with drugs and guns and taking over, get rid of the local. Right, one person. These people have this master plan in their mind, what they want to do down there about controlling it with drugs and guns and taking over, get rid of the local. Right. So these people have this master plan in their mind, what they want to do down there about controlling it with drugs and guns and taking over, get rid of the local. Right. So the thing is, this master plan in their mind, what they want to do down there about controlling it with drugs and guns and taking over, get rid of the local. Right. So the thing is, a few years ago, the boys from Detroit tried that. We got rid of them. Right? Now the guys from New York, Queens move in. Now we just got to get rid of them. Every time somebody local in Detroit tried that, we got rid of them. Right? Now the guys from New York, Queens move in. Now we just got to get rid of them. Every time somebody local from Detroit tried that, we got rid of them. Right? Now the guys from New York, Queens move in. Now we just got to get rid of them. Every time somebody
one more time.
So the boys from Detroit tried that, we got rid of them. Right? Now the guys from New York, Queens move in. Now we just got to get rid of them. Every time somebody.
And we're going to use your friend's murder to do it. That's why they framed them. They don't care about Marsha Blakely. They didn't care about Marsha Blakely's murder. They didn't care about Floyd Epps' murder. That's why his murder's still unsolved. They cared about running the New York guys that were coming in and stepping on locals' toes out of the area.
Detroit tried that.
Just like the Detroit boys.
About controlling it with drugs and guns and taking over, get rid of the local. Right. So the thing is, a few years ago, the boys from Detroit tried that. We got rid of them. Right? Now the guys from New York, Queens move in. Now we just got to get rid of them. Every time somebody local.
Do you have those guys' names?
Which guys?
The ones from New York.
Well, I don't know. Do you have some names for us?
No, the girls who want to know all.
You got those guys' names? You got their names? I'm just going to give you their names. And then, so funny, in her interview previously, she said one of their names, but now doesn't remember. And what was my theory back in January? Let's play that real quick, and then you guys can have a great night. Jump on the case, from what I understand, but I'm not an attorney. But he wanted to do it for, I have John Edwards right here, so maybe just for him. But no, I saw it in all their cases. Yeah, I saw it in all their cases. Yeah. So I don't know why Dave Yost is coming down. And no offense to Dave Yost, but if he is taken any time, like an hour, and just started reading, he would be down that rabbit hole in 2 seconds, because this case is unlike any other. And let's get into it. Today, we are not going to talk about Avery Jr., who we've talked about. Well, we're going to talk about him at the end, but in the beginning, we're not. And I'm going to play a clip where I left off last time talking about Marsha Blakely's boyfriend, Willie Mincy, because I had a weird dream, but then I also went and looked at the police report again and started. I put something together because it was really bothering me that Muncy Jr., when if you can hear his son yelling, that he's just arguing with his dad. And he's special needs, so just ignore it. But when William Muncy testified, in I believe it was 1998, in John Edwards' trial, he kept saying that he was off on the time. And that's what I had my dream about, like the time, you know what I mean? Like the off on the time. And why would he change his time? Because I know what I read, and it was 2 a.m. And I know what that Connie Ward, the day of the murder, confirmed it was 2 a.m. And I'm like, I'm going to go back to it. I'm going to go look. So this is what I'm going to share with you today. Now, some of the stuff I share with you today is my theory, but I'm going to play my theory right now for you in a couple clips. And then I'm going to expound on that and show you the police report itself and why I think this and where I'm pointing to and what kind of makes more sense here than 4 guys from New York that are selling crack. And it was an epidemic back then. I'm not condoning, selling crack, but it's a whatever, you know what I mean? They didn't kill somebody. And then serve 30 years in prison. Like, it's fucking, they were drug dealers. And I think they were on somebody's territory. And I think this person wanted to get rid of them. This is my theory just based off evidence. And it was easy to pin 2 birds, 1 stone. You know what I mean? Your brother-in-law or you murder your girlfriend in a fit of rage. You were mad that she was a drug addict. You were mad. This theory, my personal opinion. Don't sue me. You were mad at your girlfriend for being a crackhead. He even says that to the detectives. And, this guy Epps is letting her stay there. You're raising your son. Her throat was slashed. That's real personal, very personal murder. And you have these guys that you guys are all pissed off about because they're coming in from New York and they're basically taking over your, 1 square mile territory of selling crack back in the 90s, 80s, it would be 80s, because 91, 80s. Jump on the case from I understand. See, Willie, question or contact her boyfriend, Willie Mincy. Now, Marsha was stabbed multiple times. Her throat was slit. We know that, right? She was beat up, but that could have been from previous stuff that went on the night before. So she's beat up. Then her murder, she's stabbed. Now, stabbing, when you always watch like true crime, stuff like that, that's like a really personal murder. Like, you have some personal like issues with this person, right? So I go to the Willie, and I don't have it in front of me because I don't want to dig through all those things. So Willie Mincy. William Mincy says that around 2 in the morning, his original testimony, around 2 in the morning, he sees Marsha Blakely walking by his mom's house in the projects towards Epps' apartment, where she was staying at, right? And he stopped her. Well, how did he stop her? He only took her purse. He said he grabbed her purse because he didn't want her to continue to go without him. So he grabbed her purse and she stopped and waited for him. Well, according to William Mincy's story, his bike broke, his bike chain broke on the way, this 1.5 mile walk. His bike chain broke and he had to fix it. Well, apparently while he was fixing it, he ran into an individual named Walker, that Walker I was telling you about, right? And that Marsha went on towards her apartment by herself. Well, Marsha never made it to her apartment, apparently. Between that short walk from her boyfriend's house to Epps' house, which is, if you've ever been by the projects, it's not a far distance, couple miles, right? And he, though, runs into this guy, Leonard. I want to show you this line. Leonard. She never made it to her apartment, apparently. Between that short walk from
never made it to apartment, apparently. Between that short walk from her boyfriend's house to Epps' house, which is, I mean, if you've ever been by the project, it's not far.
However, I think now that she did make it to her apartment, I think she made it to her apartment. I think Willie Mincy showed up. I think they argued. I think something else occurred, but that is for. Will you guys listen? Will you guys hear that one tomorrow? Let me think. Yeah, no, probably not till Wednesday. You'll hear about that Wednesday because there is another witness that has never been discussed that told Gwen Mincy what he saw that night that I have never seen in a police report. I have never seen a deposition. I've never seen an affidavit. I don't even have the guy's name's not even listed in the police report. And I think his statement's very credible. And I think the entire goal of Marsha Blakely's murder and Floyd Epps' murder was not to actually solve the murder, but to get rid of the New York problem they had. And you know what? I will give it to Detective Taliano and Sal Rivera and whoever else was involved that you did get rid of your problem. Shakim is still there. Ian Benson's still there. Alfred Cleveland and Lenworth are free, but Lenworth Edwards are free, but they're not really free. They're always on parole and their backgrounds aren't free. They're stained as murderers and you took majority of their life. They were no longer your problem. But in the meantime, Floyd Epps' murder for the last 35 years has remained open. And he was a good person from what I heard. He was not a drug addict. He was just a town drinker and he was nice to everyone. He helped people. You know, he wasn't a bad person. Marsha Blakely was just an addict. She wasn't a bad person. She was a mother. And I feel, you know, it is really time to right this wrong. I mean, oh my gosh. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how you can look at this investigation, listen to these tapes that you're going to listen to this week and come out with the conclusion that these men are guilty. I mean, Alfred Cleveland was found by a court in 2012 to be innocent. He wasn't released until another 8 years. Tony Sillo could have came in office, our county prosecutor, and done the right thing. Did he? No. He immediately withdrew the motion for a new trial. Denied it immediately. Because he doesn't care about justice. He cares about the fact that his best friend, Jonathan Rosenbaum, who also was the assistant prosecutor in Nancy Smith's case, who prosecuted Nancy Smith, he cares more about his reputation than poor innocent men that spent majority of their adult lives in prison for a crime they did not commit. They might have been guilty of selling crack. That does not mean they're murderers. And the persons that were involved in Marsha Blakely and Floyd Epps' murder are still out there. Welcome to Lorain County, people. You guys have a great day, and there is more to come. Do not worry. More to come. This was nothing. This is the tip of the iceberg of a lot of information and a lot of confessions that are made. And at the end of this, we're going to put them all together, and it is damning. It is damning by their own statements. It's damning. Have a good night and stay focused, Ohio. And, you know, contact Tony Sillo, our Lorain County prosecutor, and tell him that you expect him to pursue justice as a prosecutor and, you know, free the four. Stay focused. Have a good night. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining me today on Mean Street. I hope you enjoyed the show. I would greatly appreciate it if you would consider supporting our work and supporting my effort You can support directly underneath at the Spotify donations, or you can directly give a donation at paypal.me/Mean Street, Ohio. Any donation received will help me continue to provide news to you and everyone else across Ohio and beyond. I love what I do, and I just hope to continue to do it. Thank you so much, and you have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me today on Mean Street. I hope you enjoyed the show.